that Russia is not our ally and Vladimir Putin is not our friend. I hope my colleagues across the aisle will contact the President of the United States and ask him why he blew off a deadline to impose sanctions on Russia, especially after Congress passed a bipartisan law on sanctions. Now, I'd like to ask about your comments, Mr. Ambassador, about strategic confusion. What you call strategic confusion, I call total and utter dysfunction at the highest levels of the Trump administration when it comes to foreign policy. Specifically to the Iran deal, we see the president say that he wants to get out of the Iran deal. In fact, when he campaigned, he said he was going to rip up the deal. At the same time, we have Secretary of Defense Mattis saying it's in the best interest of the United States to stay in the deal. We have Secretary of State Tillerson saying it's in the best interest of the United States to stay in the deal. So today, on Wednesday, October 25th, I have a very simple and basic question. What is the official policy of the Trump administration on the Iran deal? Do they want to get in or stay in, or do they want to get out?
If you think you got the guy here that's going to try to defend that, you're wrong. And no matter the number of Bibles I'm going to swear on, I don't have an answer for you. So you can pass it to somebody else. I don't speak for the administration.
Any other members of the panel, can you explain the official policy of the Trump administration as we sit here today? It's a very simple question.
I think Phil should take it.
Sorry. I mean, if you can, it's fine. Just say you can't explain it. I get that. I can't
speak for the Trump administration. You mean broadly? I mean, as I articulated in my opening
statement. We're reading the same Twitter account. We're reading the same statements from the same secretaries. So I just want your view as experts. What is the Trump administration's policy?
Broadly policy or towards this decertification?
Towards this Iran deal. What is their official position?
Well, as I said in my opening statement, my understanding of their game plan is to threaten to leave it, to force Congress and allies to agree to change it, and I expressed my own skepticism that that's possible and my concerns that that game plan, while I think the ambassador is right, that in the short term the sky's not falling and there's no reason to believe the deal collapses immediately because of that step, I worry that it has set in place a process that could lead to the collapse of the deal with nothing in place to follow it, so I'm very worried about it.
Doctor, do you have, I'm just curious about your view as an expert, if you know what the Trump administration's official policy is on the Iran deal as we sit here today.
The way I read these pieces, I was a long time in the information analysis in the IAEA. My conclusion is that the United States of America government is reviewing the situation and is looking forward what to do, and to that extent has also asked the opinion of the Congress.
Thank you. So let me tell you why strategic confusion, or as I call total and utter dysfunction, is harmful to the United States. It makes it very confusing to the American public, to members of Congress, to you on the panel, to world leaders, to understand what our strategy is, what our policy is. And moreover, it totally undercuts the credibility of Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. So when Secretary of State Tillerson now talks to members of Congress, if he were to talk to you, if he would talk to world leaders, we don't actually know who he is speaking for. Is he speaking for himself? Is he speaking for the president? What policy is he advocating that has any support behind it? And that causes massive problems. It makes it very hard to engage in diplomacy. And the dysfunction also has resulted in numerous positions not being filled. I know that the vacancy for their Assistant Secretary for International Security and Nonproliferation has not been filled. Do you know, as of today, has the President nominated anyone yet for that post? So yes or no, or you don't know, anyone on the panel? I don't think he has. I think that is a problem, and I hope you would agree that that probably is a pretty important position if we're dealing with nuclear nonproliferation issues. So it is my hope that this administration gets its act together, and for anyone who believes strategic incompetence and confusion is good, I just have one rhetorical thought experiment. Think for yourself, would any of you have wanted unpredictability, confusion, or dysfunction during the Cuban Missile Crisis? I yield back.